A few hundred thousands of years ago, humans became conscious on planet Earth, a world seemingly made for us. Animals to hunt, water to drink, a sun that warmed the land and lit the sky, and endless stars that filled the darkness above us. For most of our existence, it was easy to believe that we stood at the center of something larger, that the world existed for us, that there was a reason we were here. But as our understanding of the universe grew, that comforting picture began to fall apart. Earth was not the center of the cosmos. The sun was just another star. Our galaxy was one among billions, and humanity, for all of its achievements, occupied only a tiny corner of a vast universe. The more we learned, the smaller we became. Today, billions of people inhabit this planet, each with their own thoughts, beliefs, ambitions, and explanations for why we exist. We ask questions about our place in the universe, searching for answers, only to be met with silence. From a cosmic perspective, our existence appears insignificant. The universe does not distinguish between right and wrong. It does not reward virtue or punish cruelty. Events unfold without explanation, leaving us to wonder why things happen the way they did. We make plans for the future. We set goals, we build expectations for how our lives should unfold, yet we are constantly confronted by forces beyond our control, circumstances that seem indifferent to what we want, what we deserve, or what we believe should happen. This is the idea that lies at the heart of cosmic nihilism, the belief that the universe possesses no inherent meaning, purpose, or concern for human existence. The stars above us do not care whether we succeed or fail. The universe offers no answers to our questions and no guarantees for our future. We are simply here, conscious for a brief moment, searching for a meaning in the cosmos that may have none. And few stories capture the idea no better than No Country for Old Men.
I always figured when I got older, God would sort of come into my life somehow. He didn't.
The film follows Sheriff Ed Tom Bell, an aging Texas lawman nearing the end of his career. Having spent decades enforcing the law and maintaining order, Bell finds himself confronted by a world that feels increasingly unfamiliar. After a hunter named Llewellyn Moss discovers a suitcase full of cartel money, he becomes the target of Anton Chigurh, a relentless hitman whose trail of violence cuts across West Texas. As Bell follows the aftermath of their deadly cat-and-mouse chase, he is forced to confront a reality that seems increasingly chaotic, unpredictable, and beyond his understanding. Bell sees himself as the protector, the man responsible for keeping order and protecting the innocent. He believes it's his duty to stop Chigurh's violence and bring Moss home safely. As sheriff, he feels responsible for the state of the world around him, and sees it as his job to stand against the chaos threatening to consume it. Having begun his career as a lawman at a young age, Bell has spent decades watching the world change. With each passing year, it seems to become more violent, more unpredictable, and harder to understand. He longs for a time when the world felt simpler and more orderly, believing it is his responsibility to preserve those values in the face of an increasingly chaotic reality. But the universe does not care how Bell feels. The world continues on, becoming increasingly unfamiliar and resistant to the sense of order he has spent his life trying to uphold. Despite his efforts, Llewellyn Moss is killed and Anton Chigurh escapes justice. The outcome Bell hoped for never arrives. Faced with a reality he can neither control or nor fully understand, Bell is left with little choice but to accept his limitations, unable to stop the violence or restore the world he remembers. He ultimately retires, laying down both his badge and the burden of responsibility he has carried for so many years. The film ends not with catharsis or justice, but with a quiet, devastating realization. The universe continues on, indifferent as ever. The players are replaced, the wind blows across the desert. Life moves forward, unconcerned with the hopes, fears, and expectations of those left behind. In the end, Bell's retirement is more than the conclusion of a career. It is the acceptance of a fundamental truth about existence, that there are forces in this world beyond our control, beyond our understanding, and beyond our ability to change. And like Bell, we search for meaning and order in the chaos around us. And like Bell, we are often met with silence.
I think human consciousness was a tragic misstep in evolution. We became too self-aware. Nature created an aspect of nature separate from itself. We are creatures that should not exist by natural law.
Human existence can be a frightening thing to contemplate. As far as we know, we are the only conscious beings living on a small planet in an unimaginably vast universe. We are born without our consent, struggle to find meaning, and eventually disappear. Faced with that reality, many people search for something greater than themselves, a god, a moral order, or a purpose that gives structure to an otherwise uncertain existence. But not everyone arrives at comfort through that search, and few characters embody the opposite conclusion more clearly than Russ Cole from True Detective. As a homicide detective, Russ spends his life confronting humanity at its worst. Murder, corruption, suffering, and cruelty are not abstract concepts to him. They are everyday realities, and over time these experiences harden into a bleak philosophical worldview that Russ comes to believe that human consciousness is itself a mistake, an evolutionary accident that has burdened us with the ability to recognize our own suffering and morality. And unlike Sheriff Bell, who struggles against a world that appears increasingly chaotic, Russ has already accepted that chaos as a fundamental part of reality. He does not believe that there's a hidden order beneath existence waiting to be discovered. He does not believe justice is guaranteed, nor that suffering serves a greater purpose. To Russ, the universe is indifferent to human concerns. Russ repeatedly dismantles the comfort illusion people use to cope with existence. Religion, identity, morality, even the idea of progress itself. To him, these stories are humanity invented to protect itself from an unbearable truth, that life may have no inherent meaning at all. One of the most unsettling ideas in True Detective is Rust's belief that time is a flat circle. To Rust, human beings are trapped inside cycles they cannot escape. Violence repeats, suffering repeats, history repeats. People convince themselves that the world is progressing, but underneath that illusion, the same patterns continue endlessly across generations. This idea appears constantly throughout the series. The murders repeat themselves, corruption survives across decades, families pass trauma down to their children. For us, this destroys the comforting belief that life is moving towards some greater destination. There is no final resolution beneath the end of history, no moment where humanity transcends suffering, just an endless cycle of people living, suffering, dying, and being replaced by others who repeat the same patterns all over again. Then what are we supposed to do? Are these stories just a roundabout way of saying that existence is meaningless? That everything we build, believe, and become is ultimately insignificant in the face of something larger and uncaring? At first glance, it can feel like that is the conclusion, but neither Sheriff Bell or Russ Cole fully live as though that is the end of their story. Bell retires, but he does not stop thinking. He reflects, remembers, and searches for understanding, even after accepting that the world no longer fits the sense of order he once believed in. And Rust, despite everything he claims to believe, despite his insistence that life is nothing more than suffering repeating itself, still moves forward. He still follows the case, still protects people, still searches for truth in a world he says contains none. And that contradiction is key to understanding his character. Rust wants to believe that nothing matters because believing otherwise would force him to confront the pain that he spent his life trying to suppress. The death of his daughter, years of isolation, a world filled with suffering that seems impossible to rationalize. Nihilism becomes less of an intellectual conclusion and more of a shield protecting him from emotional vulnerability. By the end of the series, something changes after nearly dying. Russ experiences a brief moment of connection that unsettles the worldview he spent years constructing. For the first time in a long time, he feels something beyond emptiness. Not certainty, not proof that the universe possesses meaning, just the faint realization that human connection may still matter, even within an indifferent universe. The universe itself has not changed. Suffering still exists, Violence still exists, but Russ's relationship to those realities has changed, and instead of searching for meaning written to the universe itself, he begins to understand that meaning may be something human beings create for themselves. And in many ways, Sheriff Bell arrives at a similar conclusion. At the end of No Country for Old Men, Bell recounts a dream about his father riding ahead through the darkness carrying fire in a horn. Bell says he knew his father was going ahead to make a fire and wait for him somewhere out in the cold. Throughout the film, Bell searches for order in the external world, through morality, through the law, through the belief that experience and goodness should ultimately prevail against evil. But the world repeatedly refuses to conform those expectations. The universe offers Bell no explanation for any of it. But the dream changes the meaning of Bell's journey. The darkness in the dream represents the uncertainty and indifference Bell has spent the entire film confronting. And the fire his father carries represents something much smaller, but far more human. Warmth, guidance, connection. The idea that even within a world filled with uncertainty, people still carry meaning from one another. Bell never finds the answers he was searching for, neither does Rust. But both characters ultimately arrive at the same realization. Even if the universe itself remains silent, human beings continue to search for light within the darkness anyway. It's these characters that offer a response to despair, not through certainty, not through some final answer to existence, but through the things we have always known, even if we've forgotten them. The decision to continue forward despite the uncertainty. Maybe the universe doesn't care about us at all, but in the darkness, human beings continue carrying fire from one another anyway. And that's enough reason to keep going.
You're looking at her all in the sky, I think. How's that? Well, once there was only dark. When you ask any lights went